Hello, everybody, and welcome to this presentation of Physitrack. So my name is Oskar Rönnqvist. I'm an equity analyst covering some media companies and the tech sector. With us here today, we have the CEO, Henrik Molin, who is, I think, going to start with a short video on Champion Health.
Let's start there.
One of the most important elements for performance is how we sleep.
All right, a little intro clip there to warm us up after the snowstorm outside. I'm Henrik Molin. I'm the CEO and founder of Physitrack. And yes, I am wearing the same clothes in this picture to make sure that you can recognize me. I'm going to give you a little introduction to the company and a little bit about the strategy and outlook, some of the latest data, so you can get your arms around this company, which is listed on NASDAQ First North Premier. And fun fact, we were nominated as one of the best IPOs of 2021 with a 50% gain in the first year. We lost out to checkin.com, and if anybody remembers those guys. But that was us, and the intro clip there was from our wellness division, which represents 4.3 million euros of revenue of the business today. The heart of that is Champion Health, a platform for that companies use for employee well-being and data analysis, data collection. It's 31% of the business today. It was exactly 0% 2 years ago, and 10 days. So something that's grown quite rapidly via M&A and a lot of nice organic growth. But I'll get to that in a moment. The big part of our business, 69%, is life care. It's a system that we sell to hospitals and clinics around the world to help them take care of their patients so that they can feel better and faster and with a great experience. I'll give you some more details about it as well. We are a B2B business. We are a software as a service play. Our top line revenue is around 150 million Swedish krona. And I'll give you some of the KPIs there on a data perspective. But that's just to frame things. Just what do we actually do? And this is a little shot from the life care side of things. So we put tools into the hands of healthcare providers so they can take care of their patients where they're not in front of them. And that means that you can actually have a consultation on our platform, a specialized telehealth technology for physiotherapy. We invented that. That became a big boost in the pandemic. But you can also use that as an offline version of what you want to do. You can give people educational programs, clinical exercises. We have the biggest clinical exercise library for physiotherapy and neurology in the world. And so on the second overview thing over there, you can see a little interaction between me and my co-founder, Nate, with our proprietary telehealth technology. But most importantly, you have the tools that are needed to give the patients what they need when you don't see them as a healthcare provider. You give people the things to look at on their app, whether exercises, education, or surveys, so they can keep track of what they're doing, hence the track in Physitrack, which is the product. You pick them up on your iOS device or your website or even a piece of paper if you're low tech. Built into the system, reminders, chat and video and things like that, everything that can make that into a nice experience when you're not in front of your healthcare provider. There's data collection, there's data analysis as part of this as well. So if you're a bigger play, you're a big hospital or you're a big clinic that take data very seriously for decision support, well, you can look at that with the data that's generated through our technology. You saw a nice video on Champion Health. I think you get the picture. It's a holistic approach to well-being for companies. Everything that you need for your employees is in the space of an algorithmically driven app ecosystem. So the employees talk to the algorithm via surveys. They get tailored content. It's micro-tailored for their needs, exactly what they need to feel better, faster, and more productive. It can prevent anything from physical to mental ailments inside of this whole thing. So we try to collect everything in a very, very nice user interface. And it's something that's becoming more and more of a need for people, is to have everything in a simple place with one subscription model. That's exactly what Champion Health does. Very explosive growth. Zooming out a little bit on the business, we're a truly global business. We have 10 places in the world where we have people, so we have everything in terms of languages and religions and colors and all of that stuff. I'm very, very proud of being the founder of a company like that. So our life care system is available in 15 languages. Champion Health is available in English only, but we're localizing to German and Swedish later this year, because we actually have people on the ground here and in Germany that does business development for Champion. Truly global business. It's virtual first, which means that the cost structure around what we do is quite limited, and it helps us very much with the profitability of the company. We were a virtual first company before the pandemic popularized that, and it's a fun place to work. We have 147 people on board today in the team. Little snapshot from our latest quarterly report just to illustrate how we think and what's in the DNA of what we do. Fast growth with high profitability is really the future of digital health. There are too many companies that have stepped too hard on the gas, funded by venture capital, and now they're actually struggling to survive based on what they have. We were never like that, because we had to make money to survive. This was something that was in there from day one, and you can see that in our reporting. We reported for the 8th time, I think, as a listed company last Tuesday, and these were the numbers. So you can expect top-line revenue growth in around 30% with nice EBITDA margin. And if you combine organic with inorganic growth, it was actually close to 60%. Now, if you just move back a little bit in time, where this came from, and so these little bars, they probably look pretty modest, because in comparison to this 150 million Swedish krona business that we are today, it actually looks quite modest. But in fact, this has been a rapidly growing, profitable business since day one. All the way from the beginning, when we started on the back of a napkin, me and my co-founder, up until we were in 2021, we never raised money externally. We never raised money from anybody apart from mom and dad and the closest friends of ours. So it's very deeply ingrained in our DNA not to rely on anybody for our success. So historically, we're able to generate some really, really nice organic revenue growth. And this very much continued as a listed company. And we have no plans to hold back on that. We have no plans to give up on that very important DNA that kept us alive for so many years. So that's the history of the business, just in some numbers. Back to some of the numbers from the quarterly report. What's interesting to point out here, we have an ecosystem that's underpinned by a subscription model with very low churn, 1.2% on average per month, on a very cheap product. So vastly diversified, tens of thousands of paying users. That means that this is a very robust business. So you can lose a lot of users before it starts eating into your top-line revenue. And this is a beautiful place to be, because it becomes a very predictable business. So in the life care division, about 93% of the business is recurring and subscription-based. And this creates a very, very nice environment to plan your business. And on the left side there, you see some of the things that we report on a regular basis. Very transparent, nice reporting. We like telling people what we do. So we are, in line with our company values. We're an honest, we're a genuine, we're a transparent company. That's internally and externally. And on the wellness side of things, similar thing, but the numbers are actually quite significantly more explosive, because it's a new business line and it's something that's hit very significant product market fit in a short period of time. We are in the middle of a well-being pandemic. A lot of companies are having problems with the well-being, the mental health of their employees. Many people are struggling to figure out a strategy on how to fix this, how to measure the right things, how to prioritize the right things to do. Now, Champion Health, as you might suspect from that intro clip, is exactly what they need, which is why you see these type of growth numbers. And so there's no sign of this slowing down. that division, excluding one company that we were a bit unlucky with in the acquisition process, but the underlying business excluding that was over 200%. So we have no plans to slow down on that. That 4.3 million top line revenue, we probably clock in at 9 or 10 million by the end of this year. That's how explosive that business is. So very strong organic growth. We decided to diversify into this years ago. The IPO made that possible. And the big reason for that, of course, we're very passionate about wellness. We're very passionate about helping. We're very passionate about putting the right tools in the right place with the right people. But the size of the total addressable market is very significantly bigger in wellness than it is for life care. So it was kind of a no-brainer for us to attack this size market. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be a market leader in a 222 billion revenue situation or a total addressable market, but I think we can carve out a nice little chunk of this just given what we've achieved so far. Whether that means, a few 100 million of top line revenue wellness or whatever it means, I think there's definitely space for something like Champion Health. There's definitely space to really make a difference here. So that's why we're in it. Because, and this is back to Champion Health that you saw, you want all the areas of well-being captured in one place. Maria, the previous speaker, were talking about it as well, having a holistic approach to this. You don't want 5 apps to do this, to figure out where you want to go with your employees, something that's really important to them. You want one place for it. And that's what we did with Champion Health. So it combines a lot of interesting things that you need in a beautiful interface, which also happens to be really inexpensive for a company. Latest thing that we did was to open this up to smaller companies. Champion Health traditionally was for companies with 500 employees and up, so an enterprise play. Last week, we launched a solution for small to mid-sized companies, which happened to make up 99% of the number of companies out there in the UK alone. So great way to sign up, put in your credit card, and a self-service model that's infinitely scalable. Launched in the UK last week, expected to launch in Australia, in North America in the coming months as we work out trademarks and the regulatory framework that we need for that. But some very interesting things going on. We never sleep when it comes to innovation. And again, one place to go, needs to be seamless, needs to be a nice place, and you don't want 5 apps to deal with when you're in this space. You want one, and we have it. I'll let you read this by yourself. I'm not going to walk through this. I wanted to point this out. In our sales process, we use data from companies that are our customers so that they can understand what the impact is. What kind of impact do you have on stress? What kind of impact do you have on employee attrition? What impact do you have on absences and burnout? What are the cost savings involved in being subscribers to a system like Champion Health? So that's how we use that. We're a little bit unlucky because a lot of companies that we work with, they want to be secretive. Champion Health is the secret sauce that sort of makes that employee well-being situation be really yummy. In some cases, people do want us to tell the world about them. Currys is an example. Currys is the owner of Elgiganten. So that's our biggest rollout today with tens of thousands of employees, for example. It's having some tremendous impact. And so we're lucky. Sometimes people want to share with the outside world. Strata is a case study like that. That could be a nice one to read up on. All right, zooming out to the group. Why is this interesting? Because it's an all-weather thing. Well, maybe not in a snowstorm in Stockholm. When you're not wearing socks like I am not, then that can be a challenge. So, but we have a balanced portfolio of business. It's something that works in any microclimate. Because you think about it, this microclimate, people are stressed, people are having financial worries, people are working from home, they're in pain, it's a stressful situation, and we can help. We love helping, and actually the tech is really, really good, and it makes sense for these companies to invest in that. Because we're in this climate, that makes it an all-weather situation. And life care is similar. We're talking about people with neck pain and headaches and lower back pain because they're sitting at home in the kitchens like I did for 5 years building this business. They need rehab. They need the technologies to support the rehab, and they need our life care system, Physitrack. And that's why this is such an attractive investment, it's an attractive product for a business to put their money into on a subscription model, because that's the time we're in. So it's not really sensitive to these macroeconomic swings. Share price is, business isn't. Right, so what can you expect here? Well, top line growth in and around 30%. Not unlikely that we can do more than that, given just how explosive Champion Health is. Middle one, profit margins. Historically, we were north of 50%. Lifecare today is 49%. Wellness is hovering around break even on an EBITDA level, but the margins are expanding rapidly. It's very much in the DNA of this group to provide profitability, because that's how we survived. When I was sitting at home building this business in my kitchen for 4 years, not getting paid, the only way that this could work is by customers providing the revenue for us to be sustained with. And that's the DNA that's still with us. It doesn't matter that we're listed on Nasdaq First North. It doesn't matter that we're doubled in size over the last couple of years. That profitability DNA will always be with us. And of course, over time, what will that mean? Well, hopefully we can distribute to our shareholders and the long-term owners, such as myself. As I think it's an important part of a business. You're supposed to make money in a business. You're not supposed to be funded and living off other people's money. You're supposed to make money and at the end of it, be able to distribute that, some of it, to your shareholders if you're not investing it. And that is my last slide. I thank you very much for your attention, and I'll hand over to Oscar to ask some really difficult questions.
All right, thank you very much. I'll try my best. So just first, looking at the macro environment, how would that be sort of beneficial to you actually in terms of when we see maybe a lot of more issues work-related in your space?
Well, some examples of that. I don't know if you have a mortgage. I have a mortgage. I don't feel great about my mortgage. It's tripled. It was 2%, now 6.4%. That's what we're faced with in the UK. This is really fucking stressful. There are a lot of companies that have employees that are really suffering from this. So they need some sort of way to manage that financial stress. You need to talk to people about what does inflation mean? What does this mean with this interest rate environment? They need the tools to figure out how they're going to work out that mortgage, what it means over time. So financial stress education is now the most important module that we have in Champion Health. That's one example. Company management is really struggling to figure out, like, how do we talk to our people about this? They might have some banker, no offense, you're a great banker, Oscar, but they might have some banker in a suit and tie come in and talk about financial stress and whatever. They're not going to listen to them. They want to hear that from people like them, normal people. And we provide that in the platform, perfect example. And, stuff like becoming a parent for the first time, stressful stuff, we can help. That's irrespective of the market environment and the macro environment. And anything that you imagine about your physical well-being, mental well-being, there's always a need for that. And we really cater to that in Champion Health. So that's why it's actually beneficial in this type of market environment.
And then looking at the acquisition of Champion Health, so it did not only bring some top-line growth, can also see that it's a very strong brand. So how do you work with branding and what kind of benefits do you have, or how does that improve your moats in the business?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you a little story about Champion Health. Somehow they managed to wiggle their way into my YouTube feed when I don't know what I was watching on YouTube, but every time I turn on that thing, this was pre-acquisition, there was a video from Champion Health. I think it was exactly that video that we looked at. And I was thinking, what the hell are these guys doing right to get in my face the whole time? This must be a massive company. And actually I did some digging. It wasn't a massive company. And we were able to put that up for sale. So these guys are extremely skilled when it comes to finding the right channels to place their advertising, to do remarketing, retargeting to people that have been on their website. They also have some very interesting tools when it comes to communicating to the markets. They become a thought leader in employee well-being. They publish a well-being report once a quarter based on 1 million data points from companies all around the UK to tell them what is important for employees. This thing is picked up left, right, and center by thousands of companies every time it's published, and that's a great, great way to find leads for the sales process. And so those are just a couple of tools. But go on social media if you're interested. Check out the Champion Health presence there. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, etc. They really become a voice for the well-being of companies out there. Something that we actually needed as human beings, somebody to come out and just look at how should leaders approach their employees. Champion Health does that extremely well every single day. So it's just one of the examples of what they do.
All right. And then obviously the market is huge, growing rapidly. And I think you touched upon this just a couple of minutes ago. But what would be your main competitive advantages and how does the competitive landscape look like?
Well, so there are competitors out there. We like competition. Like that being a late entrance into a market is an advantage because you can learn from all the mistakes that your competitors have done. So I was never afraid of competition. I actually thought it was great because people can knock down doors, spend a lot of money to get in there for us to swoop in and just steal the business with a much better product. So that's our mindset around competition. You have the big competitive advantage is that holistic nature of that product, that you have everything that you need in one place. That was always our ace up the sleeve. Same with life care. You collect all of these different things in one ecosystem, so you don't have to combine 3 or 4 or 5 different things. You have one place to go for everything that you need, and that is the competitive advantage. So innovating with a holistic approach in mind, that's very unique. So you can compare the meditation piece to Calm, or you can there's Calm, there's Headspace, and there's other players like that, but they do one thing and they do really well. We do a lot of different things, or 5 or 6 different things, and we do those extremely well. In combination, there's nothing like that.
All right. And then just on the mix between the divisions, the wellness and life care. So naturally, when wellness becomes a bigger part of the group, the organic growth comes up quite a bit, but also the margins are, I wouldn't say under pressure, but a bit away from your margin target. So you touched upon this as well, but how do you work with, in terms of product development, in high margin products, in the wellness division, primarily Champion Health, to achieve your long-term EBITDA margin target?
Yeah, it's the biggest challenge of an entrepreneur. You have a fast-growing business, and you have margins that are low because you are innovating so much that you want to do something different. It's like having one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake at the same time. I don't know if you tried driving a car like that, but it's not easy. So the good news is that this profitability focus is so deep in the DNA that people understand that the leaders we have in those business, they understand it. So we are really, really good at reading our target markets, we're setting the right pricing, and also keeping a cost structure that is good enough for that acceleration. So what you can expect for 2023 in terms of margins for wellness is that they will expand to probably around 15-20%. And it's not 49%, that's life care, but we've been in that high margin environment for so long. We know what it takes for something else to get there. So I'm not at all concerned about our ability to hit 40-45% across the whole group in the next 2 to 3 years. And yeah, we have the tools, we have the leadership, we have the product to get there.
Right. I think we have time for one final question then. Maybe, or perhaps a more tricky one, but I'll also give the question to you regarding the balance sheet situation. You have a couple of earnouts expected to be paid out in the coming 4 years, and the cash position, including the recently set up credit facility with Santander. How do you feel about the cash flow situation and the cash position, including the credit facility?
Yeah, well, all I can say about the cash flow position is that we've been there, we've done that. We've run a business off of a shoestring. Back in the early days when we started the business, we couldn't get a loan, we couldn't get any credit lines, we couldn't get any external injections apart from, mom and dad. So we know what it's like to run a business and to accelerate it quickly without relying on external sources. And again, I keep saying DNA like a million times in this presentation. It is so deep in our DNA to manage situations like that. So now, it felt like a luxury to exit at 2022 that actually saw 200% top line growth situation for wellness and having a solid liquidity position on the back of it, 5.3 million euros or something. This is comfy, compared to when I was sitting in my kitchen doing that thing, when you paid something with your credit card on day one, you were just hoping that you'd have cash in the bank by day 55 when you had to pay the credit card bill. This is easy. It's a 150 million euro business, and it's doing something that's the most important thing in the world. Santander, they were so happy about that credit line, they put out a press release and said, hey, we gave Physitrack Group a loan to acquire Champion Health. This is amazing. We have a really, really robust relationship with cash and cash management, and that's something that's never going to go away. And that's all I can say. Am I dropping the mic now?
You certainly are. All right. I think that will conclude this presentation as we are running out of time. Thank you very much for listening in.
Thanks, Oscar.
Thanks.